Hey Greenwood, this is Robert with Greenwood Calendar. This is another episode in our series Now You Know Greenwood. It's sponsored by Steeples Appliance. Today is a good day. You're going to find out the answer to a question you've been asking for quite a while, and that's what's going on over there at U-Haul. Talking today with Chris Hudson. He's a planner for both the city and the county. We're going to get some answers from Chris.
The situation at U-Haul has been fairly unique for us. It's been sort of a two-part process. They came to us in order to open up the business because it's a county piece of property, even though it seems to be in the city. You know how that city-county line sometimes runs down the bypass. And in the county, you can put outdoor storage on or mini storage of any kind, outdoor or indoor, on a 2-acre parcel. Of course, that one's larger than 2 acres, so they needed a variance before the Board of Zoning Appeals in order to open up that business on the property. That variance was granted with some stipulations as to where they could put things like the trucks that they have out there, like the outdoor storage. That was denied them altogether on the property. They were approved to put the indoor storage which they're constructing inside of the former Kmart facility. What they were allowed to do by the ordinance in general is create an out parcel. Just create a new piece of property out in the parking lot that can be no larger than 2 acres. They've created an 1.5 acre parcel, and they can put outdoor storage on that. The 3 units that you see that sort of run on the frontage there on the bypass are the ones that are actually on that. What shocked me as the commercial planner and the person who staffs the Board of Zoning Appeals is when all the rest of those units showed up, because they were expressly told by the Board of Zoning Appeals that was not allowed. Neither is it allowed by ordinance. So right now they are not in compliance. They also placed the outdoor units there without giving us any sort of site plan. They just sort of showed up. The general way that's done is you run a site plan through our office, through the engineering office, and through the building department, so that we can apply our various ordinances, stormwater ordinances through engineering, the building code through the building department, as to how those things are put on the ground. Right now they're not fixed at all. I'm surprised with a big wind and enough water they haven't walked across the parking lot. Also, they're not on, they're on grade rather than built on a foundation, and they're really, they're not the most substantial structure. So we're afraid that what's going to happen if they don't run something through the building department and get those put down properly is eventually you won't even be able to open the door because the things will shift, and they're just flimsy metal. From my end, I need to be able to verify that they're on the property correctly, on the parcel that was created when we began this process those many months ago. So that's where we are. We've finally gotten a site plan from them. I have. The problem with that is my estimation of what goes on outside the building depends on the use that goes inside the building, and they are still undergoing the renovations inside that will allow me to then say, well, given the number of units that you have on the property, both inside and out, this is the parking that's required, and you've got to clear the rest of the lot off to get to that point so that you're compliant with the ordinance. So that's the process we're going through. It's been slowed by the fact that they ran into some infrastructure problems, as you might imagine, on an old building. One of the barriers to putting anything, reusing an old building, and the reason people don't do it as often as maybe we would all like them to, is because once you get in there, you don't know what you're going to find. And that's what happened to them. They had some infrastructure problems inside that building that they needed to fix before they could even start to construct the new small warehouse units that are prefab and go in and just get bolted onto the floor. So they did that. They were able to work through with the fire department. I think it was some water issues for sprinkling, that kind of thing. It was public safety issues more than anything. They were able to work through that and repair that, and now they're in the process of putting in those units. We have been given a projected number of units that they will put on the inside. I want to verify that when they finish, given the nature of our relationship so far, to make sure that I do the right job by them, so that once I have a number of parking spaces I can ask for, we can then start to clear off that lot, which is our ultimate goal, and get them in compliance. I feel that what's going to happen is when we get to that point, all those units except maybe those 3 units on that what is now an out parcel, like you see any of the restaurants up and down the bypass that show up in the mall parking lot. Well, those are created on out parcels. That's the same thing that's going to happen for those 3 units of outdoor storage. All the rest of those units that are basically just sitting there, I'm going to ask them to take off that piece of property, and that's going to happen. I know it's an eyesore, and it bothers me as a person involved with it from the beginning, and it's my job to try and help folks get compliant with the ordinance and start off on a good foot. It bothers me probably more than anybody. We're aware of it. We're cognizant of it. We are constantly monitoring what they're doing so we can talk to them about it. I'm just not at a point yet where we're at the final stage of getting that cleared off, but we will get there. Well, it is an eyesore. It is. It's a difficulty. The way it looks right now is an eyesore, and it may never be beautiful, but it certainly is going to be better than it is now. And I imagine that that's one of the things I do is commercial planning. I review those plans that come through our office, and I know how the business community feels about that, and they have a valid point that when there is something that looks worse than everything around it, they call that in the planning profession the prisoner's dilemma. All the houses on a block are nice except the one, and now we're judged by the worst of all of us. So that's something that we're very cognizant of, and I hope to get it cleaned up.